G'day everybody, Brett Salakis here, back from ISTE, back on home turf here in Australia. Brought a few cool little things home with me, like this merge cube. I'll talk about that a little bit in a second. But on my very final day that I had in ISTE, I went off to the Art Institute of Chicago, and I saw amazing amazing pieces of art, things that I did not know were in one building. It was just, I'm not going to say life-changing, but it was something special. It was a fantastic way to finish my trip to Chicago. And on the flight, on the way back, I was looking at my images that I took on the day, and I started to realize a few parallels, a few metaphors that came from the images that I saw and the knowledge that I gained from ISTE. So I thought my review of ISTE 18 would actually be inspired by the art that I saw at the Chicago Institute of Art. So this is it. Buckle up. I hope you enjoy what I've got to talk about, and hopefully you will learn a little bit, not so much about art. I'm not an art teacher, start with this image, but hopefully a little bit about the statue of ISTE 2018. Ganesha. So Ganesha is the Indian god, or the Hindu god, elephant god. It's a symbol of education, a symbol of learning and knowledge throughout the world. Elephants never forget. We all know that saying, but it has a special significance for me. My first effort in teaching was in the island of Bali. There were a lot of Hindu practicing people around, and I certainly became familiar with the god of Ganesha and its significance with the educators of the Hindu world. So for me, right from the very beginning of my teaching career, Ganesha has played an important symbol. It's something that I've recognised, connected with, and I just think it's tremendous to begin my reflection of what I have learned at ISTE with this symbol of Ganesha, because it's the timeless beauty, the respect, the things that we all have traditionally embedded in us that hold on to make us great teachers, and then we're looking now to improving that practice as well. So there were a number of other traditional images, if you can see, that I'm popping up on the screen now. So in between having a look at the especially the Native American images, and I think the metaphor that I got from this, what I was thinking of when I was looking at these images, is that a respect for the timelessness of education, the routine, the well-being, the basics, like our 3 R's, respect for teachers, respect for students, the discipline, the focus, having that traditional connection between home and school, how important and valuable that is. And I think it's important that we hold on to those traditions. As we move forward and enter a more digital world, more digital realm, we need to have those underlying pedagogical principles that are effective for quality learning, part of our everyday teaching. As I look here with a series of Monet and Renoir photographs of some beautiful artwork, I was touched by the beauty of the subtlety, that subtle beauty of the Impressionists. And I think what tech does with teaching is a little bit what the Impressionists did for art. It's the subtlety of support, things like Adobe Spark tools. They're not the forefront. It's not the main thing. The impression is always there. The underlying principles, the message that you're trying to get across, is still the most important thing. But you use a different technique to be able to get across that message. And I think that's what the Impressionists tried to do, and I think that's what we're trying to do with technology. We're leveraging our technology to get across our meaning in a more powerful way. Here we see a famous French painting by Seurat, and we see all the people posing in very formal ways. It's over the top. We're by the river here, very very formal posture up. People standing. He's deliberately trying to almost like a hyperbole, like go over the top, exaggerate the correctness of everybody in the image. And I think that's one of the things that we need to be careful of with technology in education. Tom Bennett actually called this out. I saw in the ISTE feed on Twitter. He said like playing edu bingo with lots of the words that people were tweeting out, the catchphrases. These are great terms, but they mean nothing if we don't back them up with good quality pedagogical practice. If we're just doing something because, wow, it looks cool, then we're not really helping our students learn. Technology needs to be there and needs to be employed to improve learning. If it's not doing improving learning, if it's just there for fun, then you know what, there's a million other things that are fun. Run around in the park is fun. Let's just go for a run around in the park. So I think what I took from this image is that we need to make sure that we're not just showing technology for the sake of it. We're not overusing it. We're not just saying, look at us. I've got technology in the classroom. I've got on one-to-one devices. I'm on Google Cloud. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. It needs to have purpose, not just posturing. From there, we move into some of the beautiful Andy Warhol, very famous Andy Warhol images there too. And I think the message here in regards with technology is that don't be afraid to try something new. Don't be afraid to try something different, because it's through those differences, it's through those new avenues that we have successes that we've never had before. We need to be able to try something different to, risk failing, but then learn from that failure. And I think the SEMAR model keeps us on the right track here. I know I had just said with Seurat, we don't want to overuse things, but you know what? If we use SEMAR, if we're saying, well, if I'm just substituting something I could do with pen and paper, if the technology that I'm trying is just a substitution, then don't really bother. But if it has the potential to completely redefine, revolutionize the way that you're teaching, the way students are learning, and the effectiveness of that, then that's definitely something that we should have a go. Now, this open arm goddess here, I don't know who painted it. I don't know the name of the painting. Hopefully someone watching can have a look. But I'm sorry, Carl Hooker. This image reminded me of you. You have got to be one of the most welcoming, generous, kind educators I've come across. And not necessarily how kind directly you've been to me, although you have been very kind, you're a good man. But the family, the edu family that you bring together, the people that you bring, all on equal terms, is just something else. Like to be able to sit with people like Felix and Phil Hintz and Audrey and of course Julie and Renee and Renee's lovely. To hang out with Shelley Sanchez and my own friends there like Andrea Tolley and Amanda Fox and Rabbi Michael Cohen and Dean Sharsky and to be able to go up against Dan Ryder and Lisa Johnston and Brianna at the Poetry Slam and just to be part of this beautiful, beautiful family. It's just something magic. Steve Denbo, I can't say how much I'm impressed by his turn of phrase, his sharp wit. I know I've missed people and I apologise if I didn't say your name, but just the family, the edu family that you have extended around you, and the welcoming that you give, and the beauty of, I just love being part of that big beautiful family. Shannon Miller, Eric, my man, my long lost brother, just Angela Myers. I can't say enough good things about these people. Caitlin, thanks for organising all the class dojo stuff. That's another terrific little family that I'm glad to be part of. We have a look here. We've got this big medieval queen. Made me think, who was the queen? Who's the monarch? Who really wore the crown at ISTE? Who knocked it out of the park? Who was just fantastic? And you know what? I saw some data representing the first day's chat on the Twitter feed. Someone crunched the numbers, and I'll try and share that image. But Alice Keeler, you dominated the Twitter feed of the first day of ISTE. If anyone had a crown for ISTE conversations, I think it goes to you. But I did say this during the day. My good friend Tara, who wrote her book, who had her launch of her book, Real, one of the latest books to have come out of the Dave Burgess publishing stable. Tara, for those people who don't know, is the person who began the whole book snaps movement, and something that I love and I use in my teaching of comprehension all the time now. That you were just literally, Tara, you were a tsunami. Everywhere I looked, people were talking about you. You were real. You were there. You lived up to everything that you proclaim, that you talk. You are just an absolute superstar. If we look over here, we've got now an image of St. George. And obviously St. George is famous for slaying the dragon. And I'm thinking, is it now time to kill off all those false arguments that saying like those sorts of talk of, are you a progressive teacher? Are you a traditional teacher? Are you inquiry? Are you explicit? Are you phonics? Are you, all these unnecessary arguments that teachers get caught up in. Are we centered on technology or not? The truth is that there is not the education is not the World Cup. It's not the Soccer World Cup. You don't have to pick a country. We don't all belong to a team that we're cheering, and there's only one way to win. Only one country is going to walk away with the trophy at the end of the day. It's not that there's going to be one teaching methodology that is going to conquer all others that we will all teach. It's, I suppose, a tapestry that we need to have a range of abilities, a range of techniques under our I was going to say under our skin, but probably we need to have in our toolkit, we need to have a range of options so that we can best use the right tool to help the students that we have in front of us at any given time. And until as a collective we come to realise that, and we stop these petty arguments between one technique and another, I think we're not really going to make enough headway into really changing teaching for the better as we move forward into the future. Now, I finish here. I started with a traditional image of Ganesha. I'm going to finish here with this beautiful statue of the Buddha, because through it all, the Buddha here sitting, contemplating, reflecting. The Buddha teaches a lot about having a balance in our life, not too much of one thing, not having totally excluding it either, having the right balance. And I think in many ways that's what we want in teaching too. We need the right balance of approaches, the right balance of technology, the right balance of traditional learning techniques. And one thing that this statue of the Buddha is saying here, we see the Buddha here in deep meditation, thinking and reflecting. That's what we need to do as educators. That's what we need to do with our students. We need to think, we need to reflect What is it that we're doing that's working? What is it that we're doing that's not working? How do we know? How do we know what's working and what's not? How do we measure that? And, I suppose three things. What's working? How do we know what's working? And once we know that, what are we going to do about it? If we know those three questions, what's working? How do we know what's working? And what are we going to do once we've got that information about how a student is going? Then that is truly how we're going to move forward in education. That's my wrap up for ISTE 2018. I'm going to go in a little bit more depth over some of the things that I talked about. That was a bit of a general overarching thing. Very powerful place, the Institute of Art in Chicago. I cannot recommend it enough. If you've never been to ISTE, I can't recommend that enough either. To all the wonderful, wonderful people I met, to all the old friends that I got to see again, to the new friends that I got to make, and certainly to the people who I've known on Twitter for a long time and converse with online and got to see in real life for the first time. Lots of love to everyone, and hopefully I'll get to see you all nice and soon, and whatever time it is, it won't be soon enough. So I hope you enjoyed this. Look forward to talking to you again, and I will see you online. Cheers.